Yesterday, the United States and Israel launched what President Trump called a war against Iran. But to better understand how we got here, let's go back 14 and a half years to November 16th, 2011. At the time, Trump was the host of the reality TV show The Apprentice and was dipping his toes into politics. In November of that year, he posted this video online.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran.
Trump routinely repeated that accusation over the next few years, both on social media and during his frequent cable TV appearances.
I think Obama will go to war with Iran because I think he views it as good politically, and that's pretty sad.
I predict there's a very good chance that we'll end up in a war with Iran because I think it's politically possibly a positive for Obama, even though it's not a good thing for our country.
President Obama, you'll recall, did not go to war with Iran. He negotiated a deal with Iran. It was the Iran nuclear deal, but its formal name is the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA. It followed years of intense negotiations. It was designed to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, essentially by limiting Tehran's uranium enrichment capabilities and stockpiles. It was signed on July 14th, 2015. Less than 3 years later, on May 8th, 2018, President Trump withdrew the United States from that historic accord and reinstated harsh economic sanctions on Iran. According to the United Nations and Trump's own administration, the deal was working at the time that Trump pulled out of it. In turn, Iran soon started enriching uranium again. By 2023, UN inspectors found that Iran was getting closer to obtaining weapons-grade uranium, closer to the threshold needed to build a nuclear weapon. Another important thing Iran did after the U.S. withdrew from the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal, was to expand its so-called Axis of Resistance, a loosely associated alliance of armed groups in the region that have been trained, funded, and supplied by Iran. It's filled with groups whose ideologies don't necessarily always align, but are unified under an ideological umbrella that opposes Israel and the U.S. in the Middle East. Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and Hamas in Gaza, as well as other armed groups in Iraq. After Hamas's 2023 attack on Israel and the subsequent two-year war in Gaza, these groups have been significantly weakened by Israeli attacks in coordination with the U.S. The result is that Iran's overall influence and power have been clipped in the region. Iran's nuclear program was also weakened back in June when the United States joined a 12-day Israeli bombing campaign, which hit several Iranian nuclear facilities. President Trump claimed at the time that Iran's nuclear program was obliterated in those strikes. However, pretty much everyone else, including the UN, Iran, Israel, and even U.S. officials, say significant damage was done, but that the program was not entirely destroyed. And importantly, Iran reportedly still maintained its stockpile of enriched nuclear materials. After the strikes, Iranian officials claimed that the government was no longer enriching uranium and signaled to Western nations an openness to negotiate for a new nuclear deal. A major reason for that about-face is that the U.S. sanctions are indeed causing tremendous economic suffering in Iran. Things came to a head in late December when massive countrywide protests erupted. They were violently crushed by Iranian authorities. Trump added fuel to that fire, repeatedly threatening military action against the Iranian regime and declaring the U.S. was, quote, locked and loaded and ready to go. He told protesters, we've got your back. He amassed an enormous U.S. military presence in the region in recent weeks. At the same time, the U.S. and Iran did engage in a new round of indirect talks. And when I say indirect talks, they weren't talking to each other, but they were actually in the same hotel in different rooms. So somebody would go to one room and talk to that one group and then go to another room and talk to another group. And that somebody was the Omani foreign minister. The most recent meeting took place this past Thursday in Geneva. The U.S. side was led by two people. Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, who's acting in an unknown capacity and who has an unknown role in the U.S. government, and the guy in the middle, Steve Witkoff, a former real estate investor and one of Trump's golfing buddies, who's now the special presidential envoy for peace missions. Iran said the talks focused exclusively on their nuclear program. The Trump administration maintained that Iran's nuclear program would only be a part of any potential new deal. Limits on Iran's actual ballistic missiles, which don't have nuclear warheads, should be another. Trump threatened military strikes if all of his demands for a new deal were not met. And yesterday, he followed through on that threat.